The King's Wyvern has gone missing. As all of you know by now, the king is a big fan of breeding wyverns. Zadte, his signature wyvern, the cream of the crop, the wyvern that his whole look is based upon, has gone missing. No one seems to have seen what occurred or how it happened. The King's Council mentioned that the wyvern had been growing weary and wasn't producing as many offspring in the last couple of years. Perhaps she knew that her own lifespan was coming to an end and couldn't bear to face her destiny. The wyvern has fully black scales and an orange underskin glow on her neck and wings. The large-sized creature could now be an absolute menace to our realm, and any sighting of it should be reported. If you see her, please report to your local guardsman. Do not approach her by any means. I repeat, do not die. Oh, also the white phoenix feather is missing. More on this news later. A new shop has been set up in town. This is all everyone on the streets can talk about. Its owner is unlike anything we have ever seen around these parts. He carries around a golden censer that never stops swinging back and forth. The censer produces the most captivating and warm aroma. It smells like the pure warmth of the sun of Astaroth. A rich and silky scent that produces a golden paradise vision with gentle chocolate notes that can almost be tasted when inhaled. The owner of the shop, Kusufe, calls himself the Whispering Diviner. His voice is as captivating as the scent of his censer. He speaks in riddles, and everyone truly wants to decipher what their fortune is, but he has no repeat customers. Once he gives out a riddle, he doesn't allow anyone to come back until such a riddle has been solved. Perhaps we should pay him a visit. Kusufe, by the way, is a dog. We want to remind you that our realm isn't the only realm out there. As you know, rituals have been occurring in order to keep the magic flowing through our world. A group of sorcerers have been communing with pit fiends and creating a magical deal that will fund the magic in our realm for the next 100 years if the deal closes. Investing in dark magic is never the first option you should take a look at when looking for low-risk investment options. Our realm has been on the brink of extinction a couple of times over the last centuries. In order to survive through this multiverse, we need to keep in mind that sometimes the end does justify the means. Perhaps, if anyone is listening out there, our realm is looking to open new and safer investment options with pure magic dealers out there. If anyone can hear us, we are drifting in the southern side of the desolated chasm. Please send a multiplanar being to our aid. The white phoenix feather has been reported missing. The white phoenix Nobilus conflagrata was the last outer planar being to have found us. This was just 2 years ago. The appearance of the gargantuan bird set in motion the events that have led us to meander through the desolated chasm. If you were to look at the sky, you could see out in space the legendary fight between the phoenix and the snake of the cosmos. The snake is worshipped and feared by many beings in many planets. The snake is known for swallowing entire realms and growing in size on perpetuity. Let's talk about the snake of the cosmos. This creature will lay a single egg during its entire lifetime. The snake grows in size every time it eats anything. The snake must eat in order to survive. This creature will grow so big in size until finally exploding from the sheer magnitude of its weight. The snake travels across the darkest of plains to hide one single egg it will lay during its entire lifetime. She will look for a world that isn't able to fight back or hurt the egg in any way. Once the egg is laid, the snake of the cosmos will shed its entire skin and wrap the nest of the egg in it. This will protect the egg from any harm the nest might run into. It isn't a coincidence that the snake of the cosmos chose the desolated chasm to lay its egg. Very few beings dare to even explore the entrance of the chasm, much less the contents of it. Needless to say, the snake chose to lay its egg on our realm and then decided to shed its skin and wrapped our world within it. We do not yet know whether any being out there will be able to penetrate such protection. The white phoenix seemed to have been battling the giant snake for days, until finally the snake slayed the bird and the detonation was a sight to behold. Phoenixes, as we all found out, explode upon being slayed. A single white phoenix feather landed in our realm, and we have been rigorously conducting research on this feather. Perhaps this research will allow us to find a way out of the chasm. But as we told you earlier today, the feather has gone missing. And now, a word from our contributor.
Today's transmission is sponsored by the Mother of Otters. The Mother of Otters would like to tell you that not all otters are as skittish as they seem. By simply casting a basic fire charm, you can draw them out of their hiding spots. The Mother of Otters has been experimenting and perfecting this charm for such a long time that even the fire itself has begun to resemble the shape of an otter. Hundreds of otters can be seen at the edge of our very own glorious Pentata Woods. They wait every evening for our fire charm to enchant them back to their beds. A gentle humming along with a radiant blue glow can be heard and seen, signaling the arrival of the mother. She spends her time saying hello to the critters before using her unique charm. The otter's screams can be heard for a couple of minutes if you live near this area. The Mother of Otters asks that you do not feed the otters. Some of the otters have begun to gain weight, which is causing them trouble when swimming. The Mother of Otters has asked us to let you know that her uniquely designed pair of gloves will allow you to perform the fire charm that will reward you with a pet otter of your own. Simply put on the gloves and say the magic words. Williango Pristiliojo Tensilum Tentatum Infuro. Your brand new pet will be made out of non-flammable otter blue fire. We have a limited number of gloves in stock, so be sure to claim them outside the fort once the transmission is over. And as always, keep in mind that about 50% of the magic in our realm is digested by the egg laid by the snake of the cosmos. So if your gloves have any side effects, please contact the Mother of Otters.
We have received the most beautiful letter. Upon arrival, there was no mistake who this letter came from. The envelope was golden and warm and soft to the touch. Once we opened it, the warmest vanilla and chocolate whispers embraced our nostrils. There was no mistake that Kusufe, our whispering divineer, was behind this letter. Kusufe mentioned that he's a fan of our transmission, and that this is one of the reasons why he chose to set residence in our world. Some other reasons were the golden dracolings that handle our mail. He mentions that he has never seen dracolings behave with such poise and not be a nuisance. Another reason to visit our realm, Kusufe mentions, is the crowned pixies tradition. For those of you listeners of other realms, every year, the Fae craft golden crowns big enough so a small child could fit within them. These crowns are adorned with beautiful jewelry and filled with the comfiest of amenities. Any child that decides to take residence inside one of these crowns will be greeted with a soft pillow made out of cloud material from our very own autumn skies, a hand-knitted sweater made out of the threads of fairy wings, and an unlimited amount of candy of their choice, as well as any dessert made to order from the Fae themselves. The crowns also have a portable toilet for their own needs, a shower that bathes you with fairy dust every morning, and a book filled with all of the legendary Fae tales. These crowns are left to be found everywhere in our world, and only children under the age of 3 are allowed to take residence there. The children will have to live in these crowns over a 6-month period. During this time, the child will grow their very own set of wings and live their mortal life to transform into part of the Fae community. That's right, our children turn into fairies. The Fae have kept up with this tradition to grow their dwindling population. With not enough magic to go around, all of the races do what they can in order to survive. Kusufe, as mentioned before, is a big fan of this tradition and wishes to be able to witness it later this year. And I couldn't help but notice that Kusufe happens to love all of our traditions that relate to gold. A dog interested in gold? I guess I've seen it all now. As always, our realm needs to be revitalized with magic in order to power up for another day. So we'll be back after the magic convergence. The Necromagus has reported a sighting of the Kings Wyvern. The Necromagus is one of the beings in a realm that currently resides in the Akia Summit. For those of you that aren't familiar with the mountains of our world, the Akia Summit is without a doubt the coldest place found within the surface of our lands. The summit is at least 3 times taller than the second highest peak in our realm, and no living creature has been able to reach the top of the summit and get him back to tell the stories. A lot of different citizens take residence in the summit. However, the Necromagus is the only known being that takes residence at its highest survivable height. The Akia Summit hosts unique magical properties and works as a magic generator of sorts. The mountain itself seems to give life to lots of different creatures over a certain period of time. Every now and then, a new set of creatures seem to descend from the summit and have a couple of issues trying to adapt to our way of living. Some of the known creatures that have descended from the mountains have been the Arctic jackalopes, a large naked white humanoid with a visible heart in the middle of their chest. The jackalopes are at least 10 to 12 feet tall. They are very slim and muscular, with red spikes coming from the back of their head and body. These spikes almost resemble hairstyles and serve to distinguish some jackalopes one from another. They create weapons out of their own spikes, and as far as we know, they do not possess any vocal cords, and thus we are unable to exactly determine how they communicate between one another. They currently live in the Arctic areas of our world. The Amber Sphinx has been the largest creature born from the magic produced by the Akia Summit. The Amber Sphinx stands over 25 feet tall, and although they are quite large beings, they mean no harm to any of our citizens. The Amber Sphinx, as its name indicates, is a large and bulky amber-colored sphinx. The one particular characteristic of the sphinx is their extremely large neck. Their neck expands around 10 feet from their bodies, and thus they represent at least a third of the sphinx's height. Underneath the neck of the sphinx hangs a long and beautiful overgrown silky skin. This hide is shed by the sphinx twice every year and is used by our citizens to make beautiful amber sphinx clothes, boosting our economy. The sphinx currently lives in the glorious Pontara woods. Zadte, the King's Wyvern, was located at the highest peak of our realm, completely frozen. The way that the sun of Astolat lights up over the Akia summit and casts a shadow over our land has allowed us to figure out that a new shadow now imposes over the rest. It is now clear to us that the shadow belongs to the Missing Wyvern. Some of our citizens consider this to be one, if not the greatest feat of strength by any living creature. Others just find it stupid. Why would you ever try to achieve something that will certainly mean death? Perhaps a chip on the shoulder of some living beings causes them to strive for what others may think impossible. Zadte, without a doubt, gave us some of the greatest moments of pride our world has known. Our Wyvern riders, our architecture, our sports, our businesses, our clothing, our way of living was deeply influenced and inspired by this creature. For many years, Zadte stood as a symbol of pride and honor for those that ever saw her flying across our skies. No creature could stand to be as elegant as she once was. This feat of prowess shows how determined she was to leave a legacy behind, perhaps so that we can never think of her in the way she was behaving as of recently. It seems she wanted to be remembered for what she always was, a proud and powerful wyvern soaring across the skies with her immaculate complexion. Perhaps Zadte climbed for us all to look for salvation for our realm. Who knows if we'll ever be found? Her frozen figure will be cast over our land for all of us to remember, and perhaps if someone does ever come across our world, the first figure they'll see is that of our most impressive and honorary resident. Zadte will welcome you all into our world, and we will all try our best to make her proud. If anyone is listening out there, please look for a world that is calling out for help. At the top of it, the figure of a frozen wyvern should guide your travels, and thus we will await your arrival. We wish to be found. Our magic is running out.